With real estate just being sizzling hot right now, more and more people, and I don't know what the problem is. I just don't know. People act like their memory banks get erased after a certain period of time. But more and more people are thinking about and getting into flipping houses and wanting to go ahead and buy investment properties and this, that, and the other. Like they forgot what happened in 2006, 2007, 2008. And don't they know that the universe is circular and everything happens in a cycle? But so many people ask me when they see me in the street or they're sending email messages, you know, Dr. Reeves, what's the best way to invest in real estate right now? Real estate is hot. Well, I'm telling you, for me in my portfolio, real estate investment trust, because I can trade them like options and or stocks. I want to get out of a position, I go ahead and place trade. I'm out of the position. Okay? If I'm in a real estate investment trust that's invested in, you know, medical complexes, guess what? I can get in and out in a day. All right? Any given time while the market's open. If I go out and buy, okay, a medical office complex or whatever the case may be, it doesn't work like that. All right? There's a process to selling. Then there's time frames, and you never know how long it's going to take to liquidate that particular building to go ahead and hopefully get a profit out of it. Hot water heater goes out, furnace goes out, compressor goes out, and then not to mention people who play late and whatnot. Next thing you know, I'm in the collection business. Been there, done that. So for me, okay, it's much easier for me to pick out companies like Realty, okay, Income, which pays me, a real estate investment trust that pays me a dividend every month, or other various real estate investment trusts that are in, for instance, like logistics or storage or medical facilities or long-term care facilities for the elderly, short-term care facilities that provide respite care for elderly people, etc. There's a whole realm, apartment complexes, there's a whole realm of real estate investment trusts that make it much easier for me to invest in. But I digress. Some of you still want to go out and buy brick and mortar structures straight up. You don't want to invest in a real estate security like a real estate investment trust. So for those of you that want to do that, you need to take copious notes. If you got recording apparatus, cut them on. And I'm going to tell you how to save you behind so you get P.A.I.D. if you decide to go ahead and buy a brick and mortar building or a house, a single family detached dwelling that you want to rent out, etc., etc. Now, there's a rhyme or reason to this. And so many people go out here and try to invest in real estate straight up, and they wonder why they get got, because you don't do it right from the beginning. Now, what I'm about to go over with you, I have seen done over and over and over again and make just truckloads of money and double digits and triple digit profits for people who really know what they were doing. I was taught this strategy and technique, okay, in a very, very brief course when I was in grad school. Okay, this is one of the strategies and techniques. But then I actually saw it amplified, okay, in real life by a Jewish gentleman that owned a box above the pits on Wall Street. And he was showing me different things, you know, Kenneth, this is how you do this. Now listen to me, I don't care what they taught you in grad school. This is how you do that right there. And this is when you pull out of this. And these are the guidelines and the parameters. And this is the equation that you want to look at before you go ahead and do that in real estate. Now I'm about to share this with you. This is invaluable information. But it will save you from yourself when you're thinking about trying to trade and invest in real estate straight up. Now, if you want to know the secret to making fortunes from real estate, simply buy the properties at the right price. It's not actually a secret. Almost any good book on the subject will tell you that the problem is more than 90 to 95% of those who invest in real estate have no idea what buying right, quote unquote, means. To many people, it means buying property when real estate prices are going up. That's as a practice sometimes work, but as a strategy for getting wealthy safely, it's a very, very, very bad strategy. I want to focus today on buying rental real estate without an idea of what a good buy really is. Now, when it comes to rental real estate, a good buy is getting the title to a property that can be fixed up and rented out at a profit right from the get up, right from the onset, right off the rip. So what exactly does it mean to buy rental real estate right, quote unquote? My answer is this. If you can buy a piece of property and have it fixed up and ready to rent for less than 8 times yearly rent, you are almost certainly buying that property right. Family members, write this down now, because ain't nobody else going to tell you this now. And I'm giving you information that I bear witness to has made millions of dollars for people who do nothing but trade and invest in real estate. And they're not trying to tell or let this information go out to anybody else, because they always buy on the low and sell at the top end. Let me repeat that. If you can buy a piece of property and have it fixed up and ready to rent for less than 8 times, that's the index, 8 times yearly rent, less than 8 times yearly rent, you are almost certainly buying that property right. Now, let me give you a specific example. Let's say the house that you want to buy, the rent in your neighborhood, costs for rent $1,500 per month. All right? Now, that would be what? $18,000 a rent each year. $1,500 a month times 12 months. Got it? That means as an investor in rental real estate, you should not pay more than $144,000 or 8 times $18,000 for that property. Get it? Now let me go over that again now. Let's say the house that you're thinking about going ahead and buying and have as a rental income costs $1,500 per month in rent. That's what it would generate. That's what the market will hold. $1,500 a month for that particular property. That would be what? $18,000 in rent each year. So you take 15 times 12. 1,500 times 12. That means as an investor in that particular property, when you go to make your offer to buy that property to rent out at $1,500 per month, don't you offer more than $144,000, which is 8 times $18,000. Get it? Now, if you can buy rental properties at that ratio, boy, you stand a good chance of making about 8% to 10% on your money if you buy the property with cash. Now, this ratio I just told you about is called a gross rent multiplier, or GRM. Write that down. That ratio I just gave you that indexes off 8 times is called a gross rent multiplier, or GRM. Now, 8 times yearly rent is the maximum you should pay for any rental property. Let me repeat that. 8 times, once again, indexing off 8. 8 times yearly rent is the maximum you should ever pay for a rental property. If you live in an area that has high property taxes and home insurance, a GRM of 7 might be a better position to be in. You see, your goal is always to pay the lowest GRM you can find. Always seek to pay the lowest. Hell, I'll start out with a GRM of 5 to see if I can get the property. Maxing out at 8. And if it's 8, arrivederci, I walk off. Now, the big point here is that when you invest in real estate, we're talking about rental real estate, you should be investing for cash flow, not appreciation. People get that twisted. Cash flow, because what? That's immediate. That's now. Not appreciation. Why? Because that's in the great by and by. That's in the future. Your objective should be to start making cash profits on your investment in the very first year. Now be aware. You can't always find rental properties for a GRM of 8 or less. There are places where either rents are too low or property prices are too high, or both. These are places you should not, I repeat, should not invest in rental real estate. It's just that simple. Now, there are also times when it is possible or nearly impossible to buy rental real estate at a quote-unquote right price. You certainly couldn't have bought rental real estate for a GRM of 8 in Florida or California, Texas, or any other populous state in 2007 and 2008. The cost of properties back then was too high compared with the rent rolls. But I want to stop here and reiterate the basic point that I've been making. Buying cheap does not mean buying property when it seems quote-unquote cheap, either because it is shooting up or because it is cheap compared with what it was before as far as price. At the end of the day, I don't care what the property seems to be. And you damn sure don't need to be investing in separate brick and mortar real estate for appreciation. No, you investing in it for cash flow, which you want now. But the number one rule to always follow is to buy rental property when you can get it at a GRM of 8 or less. The lower the better. And if, beloved, you do that, you will get P.A.I.D. You stand a great chance at having your property provide cash flow as long as you manage it well and you maintain the right moral, fiduciary, and spiritual obligation. You must be able to look and see, hear and listen, and you must be able to apply the principle of a GRP. Very important now, a GRM that generates a GRP, which is a gross rental profit, off of that GRM that's 8 or less. The lower, the better. Family members, if you're going to invest in brick and mortar real estate, please utilize the strategy and technique if you want that particular property to be profitable for you and you plan on renting it out. We must do for self. We cannot sleep and dream any longer. It's time for you, me, we, the beloved Assua's Wealth Astute family, and I dare say everybody, to wake up and get P.A.I.D.